Hello and welcome to an overview of this sentence structures flipped lesson. This is created in Schoology. I work at Pasadena Independent School District and we have Schoology Enterprise. That's why we have the fancy banner up at the top. But this lesson will work even without the fancy version of Schoology. You can do this with Schoology Basic. So this lesson is structured to be entirely instructor free. Now the instructor can totally be nearby and there to assist students as they're working, but ideally students should be able to complete all of this instruction completely on their own and then come to class with this knowledge ready to put it to use. So I put here, welcome, start here, because I teach freshmen and sometimes you just need to be a little obvious, so start here. This is just a quick instructional page that tells the students exactly what it is that they need to do, and it gives them their guided notes. So they can click on that and download the guided notes. And these notes, ideally, they will be completing as they continue throughout the entire instruction. So I give students the option, they can either download the notes, print them out, write on them, and turn them in on paper. They can download them, type on them, and turn them in through Schoology. They can fill them out on paper, take a picture, and turn their picture in through Schoology. So they have multiple ways that they can turn in the instruction depending on what works best for them. I do recommend that you tell students that if they're going to type it, that they need to delete the lines, and then they can type. Okay, so you want to make sure that students have those notes ready to go from the beginning. So that's why I put those in the welcome page. First thing students do is go to the independent clause folder. That's where they are to start. And when students view this page, they will not see or be able to click on all of these items because I have the student completion option set. So the student completion option shows that the requirements must be completed in sequential order. So before they can go to the quizzes, they have to view the independent clauses page. And they must do each of these things in order. As they complete each item, then the next one will unlock. So the first one is the independent clause page. And here's notes, information. Now I made sure that I put this information in text and not as an image of the slide from PowerPoint that I originally had, so that students with visual or who might be blind or cannot see very well and use a screen reader can still access the information, because a screen reader can't read the words that are in an image, but they can read the words that are as they are on here. At the bottom, then we have a video. I tried to find super short, very specific videos that are enough to be a little bit entertaining for the students, but not too much information that they zone out. And it just provides a little bit of extra instruction, a couple extra examples, just to make sure that they understand it. And generally, I use these videos as optional. If the students understand the concept from this part and they don't want to watch the video, then that's fine with me as long as they understand what they're doing. But the video is there if they need the help. So if we go back, the next item in the independent clause folder is a quiz is. Now I like quiz is because you can assign it as homework and you don't have to do it live in class like you do with a Kahoot or a Quizlet. So I embedded this within Schoology so they don't even have to click outside of the Schoology window. I put the code right here, so all they have to do is type it in here, click proceed, and then they can complete the quizzes. Kids love quizzes because they get to see the leaderboard. It's kind of more like a game than a quiz, but they still get that extra practice as they're going through the lesson. So once they've completed the quiz then they can move on to simple sentences and then compound sentences. And then there's a quiz over independent clauses, simple sentences, and compound sentences altogether. Now this quiz is entirely multiple choice, and Schoology will grade it automatically. There are 10 questions, all to equal 100 points. And once students are taking the quiz, you can see the results here, and it will show you all of their attempts, how many times they submitted it. It'll even tell you how long they took on each quiz. So you can kind of look back at all of that to see how students are doing. So that's the independent clause folder. It has notes, examples, and independent practice. And so if you go back, once they have finished the independent clause folder, then they move on to the dependent clause folder, which looks almost exactly the same. So then there's information about dependent clauses, a dependent clause quizzes, and then complex sentences, compound complex, and another Schoology quiz. So this is an exact mirror of the independent clause folder, just with the more advanced sentences. So once they have completed both of those, then they have this place where they can turn in their guided notes. Students over here will see a submit button, so they can click there and they can attach either their notes that are completely filled in, they can attach an image of their notes that are written out, or they can always just hand the paper copy into their teacher. So they have multiple options of how they can get this assignment done. Just depends on what works for them best. So if you have students who are completing this at home who only have access to the internet for a couple of minutes, they can download the notes, print them out, and fill it out on paper without needing the internet. So that's the lesson. I hope that you like it. I hope that it's helpful. I plan on using this at the beginning of the school year next year for my students, because I think that this is a really good lesson to set the groundwork for sentences. This is why it's perfect for a flipped lesson. They can complete all of this on their own and understand the foundational concepts that they need in order to construct different types of sentences. And then I can work this instruction in throughout my lessons in class, and I can work it in every time they're writing an essay or a short answer response or any kind of writing. You can always come back to this. I would also leave the Schoology page open and available to students so that even if it's 6 months later, if they're like, man, I don't remember what a compound sentence is versus complex, they can come back and look back at this instruction and maybe watch those videos again as a refresher. So that's it. I hope you enjoy, and if you have any comments or feedback or just want to tell me how awesome it is, then please feel free to leave me any comments on the contact me page of my blog, which is mrshebert.blog. That's mrshebert.teach.blog. Thank you very much.